Hello and welcome to a new TECHunplugged videocast. We're live at VMworld Europe in Barcelona, and we are here for a special discussion panel which is sponsored by VeloCloud. We have very bright people here in the room. We have our friend Dominik, we have Craig from VeloCloud, right? We have Andrea, and we have Raff. So, gentlemen, we're going to talk a bit about VeloCloud, about SD-WAN and scalability. So can you tell us a bit about hyperscale SD-WAN? I think that's something that is very hot right now. You're talking a lot about it. Can you tell us what it is about?
Yeah, absolutely. SD-WAN's been an emerging market. Now it's really coming to the point where we're reaching a level of what we call hyperscale. We have more than 150,000 sites deployed around the world, more than 10 billion flow records coming in a day, more than 75 million records about WAN link statistics and quality that come in a day to provide analytics, and more than 2,000 gateways deployed around the world. So part of that is building the software architecture to support that scale. Part of it is what we've learned from deploying 150,000 sites around the world.
So when you say hyperscale, it's not just hyperscale for customers, but it's the scale at which you as a company is operating, right?
Right.
Okay, very good. So what's your take about hyperscale SD-WAN? Is that something that you're seeing in your practice, every day? Or is it something which is kind of rather new to you, this kind of scale of operation?
Now, I think in every SD-WAN discussions, how large can we scale, yeah? And everybody is scared, will the overlay at one day collapse and we will end up with no WAN connectivity? And I think VeloCloud is here really at the edge with this hyperscale. And I think it's one thing to design this on a whiteboard. On the other side, you see this now live deployed and in the wild. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. So since you have these discussions, do you see that there's, are we using the same mechanisms to design such a large-scale SD-WAN, or do you think that there's really a change in mindset, a change in tool set, let's say, a change in the operation model, how we deploy that?
For me, the simplicity stays the same. You can grow very large and still using the same mechanism, and everything stays more or less on the same ground. You don't have to change anything to scale up. Yeah, that's kind of the benefit of all of it.
So Craig, can you tell us a bit about what is the customer journey to go from, let's say, let's imagine, we start small and then our operation starts scaling. How do we do that? How easy is it to do that with VeloCloud? Or do we need to change anything special? Do we just keep, scaling?
Yeah, no, I mean, one of the things that we built into the product from the beginning is a way to do an easy POC, easily integrate into your existing network, easily bring up a branch office. And the configuration model that's built is hierarchical with templates, with profiles, so that as you expand, it almost becomes cookie cutter to add more sites.
Okay, and I totally see how this is integrating with this view of the network of clouds as well, or you can use all of these, the endpoints and the network to scale everything. I'm just going to switch a bit the discussion to security now, and that's going to be very interesting, I think, for Andrea and probably for Raff as well, because we're going to talk about edge security. So probably for you, Andrea and Raff, if you want to chime in as well, what are the challenges that you're facing when you're doing, making edge deployments, when you're deploying something into branch, some security challenges that you're facing?
Yeah, edge is just a term. We learned that there are different type of edges. Absolutely. And different type of network edges. So if you consider, for example, a branch office that is a common case, for example, in Italy, VeloCloud can really help to this kind of scale and this kind of management and to secure the communication. Also, if it is into the cloud, we talked before to have an on-prem implementation or not, but for this kind of company with a lot of branch office, have simplicity first and reasonable security is the most important part. If you can control all the traffic and see the flow and optimize that, is a good way to bring security. And to increase this, you can integrate with NSX. Still, there are parts that are overlapped. But
yeah, from a cloud service provider point of view, this is a further level. I mean, we started with MPLS, VPN, and so security inside there. Then we reached the the VPN started by an edge, so IPsec edge, and now with SD-WAN. So delivering the connectivity to a branch office, but in our case to our customers, in let's say hybrid clouds, connecting with their own organizations in VeloCloud Director. We are using VeloCloud Director, by the way. So this is challenging for us, and SD-WAN is a great solution after the VPN IPsec that offered already the edge managed by NSX.
Yeah, and just to add, in many edges there is no segmentation today. Yeah, you come the printer, the client PCs, the management, everything is just one large subnet. That is pretty common. And I think now you have the capability to build smaller security zones, yeah, to isolate the printers from the client PCs and so on. And I think in the past that was quite difficult to do that. And yeah, now
also
it's...
because in the edge you don't have IT people usually. That is another...
So that's also that's one of the challenges that you have at the edge. If we take the case of branches, you had to install a router, you have to get probably a firewall, and you have some people which usually don't have the skill set, you know. So that's also one of the points. Are you changing the operational model here as well? I mean, the way we do security for branches. I mean, what Dominik was saying is, we have printers, all sorts of devices in the same segment. I wouldn't be even surprised if we get domain controllers in the same, you know, as the printer. So, do you think that you're able to deliver application in a slightly different way, in a more isolated way, or in a kind of containerized way, if I can say that way?
Yeah, I think everyone here mentioned simplicity or complexity, and that's a big part of security. The way that we can easily create segments with one click, the way that you can isolate traffic without having to build a complex set of inter-VLAN firewall rules. That really makes it easier to see how your network's set up, what's actually happening, and to spot anomalies, because it's less config to sift through.
So I think that detecting anomalies, it makes a really good point for another question I had before, which is, how does the whole analytics part plays into VeloCloud?
So we're trying to build more and more on top of it. What we've done already with analytics. So I mentioned in a previous meeting that we were ingesting 10 billion flow records a day, more than 75 million link records a day. We've actually been able to detect malware infections. We've been able to detect viruses that have infected our customers' networks just by seeing, you know, tens of thousands of DNS flows or sudden spikes coming from certain types of clients in the network.
So detection is an awesome thing, but are you able to dynamically take action at this point, or is it something which is going to come in the future?
Well, the good thing today is that with so many customers, even if it is only post-mortem detection today that happens in customer A, we have tens of thousands of other customers that can get the benefit of proactively reacting to that, right? So we see an infection in one customer, we can proactively push rules out to block that attack from even starting in every other customer in our network.
That's pretty
It's
awesome.
not day zero, but close to
Yeah.
zero.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, any other closing points before we close this panel? Anything you want to share about your own vision about security and SD-WAN, perhaps?
Yeah, I think we are on a journey leaving the dark ages where everybody could communicate just broadly inside the network with everybody. So I think it's a good thing. It's a start, but of course it's a journey, yeah, to evolve to that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, you know, not just within SD-WAN, where security continues to evolve and advance, but across VMware with Carbon Black, with App Defense, with NSX Firewall, we're bringing one single vendor holistic solution to make it simpler to manage all of your security in one place.
Andrea?
Yeah, security is needed, of course, but usually it's too complex or can bring some issues in usability. But if you can automate or driven by policy or have some kind of security by default, this is the best way.
Raff?
Well, as I told before, SD-WAN is a higher level. So if before we had to use any kind of endpoint security with other vendors and so on, now we have VeloCloud inside VMware, so in the same family, everything is integrated, so well, it's great.
So as a closing point, I'd like to thank everyone here for participating to this panel. I think that what we've heard today in both panel sessions is, we're really getting to the point of the VMware's vision of delivering a fully software-defined stack, across clouds, from edge to core to cloud. And I think that your general manager, Sanjay, which was the founder of VeloCloud, also even said from container to cloud, which is an interesting term. I hope we'll have the chance to talk about that at another occasion. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this panel session.